to صدای جوانان with Suri. Today I have my beautiful co-host Muskajan Zai, who also happens to be one of my best friends. دوستای عزیز، قسمت که شما میفهمین زیادتر بیننده ها عزیز که هستن انگلیسی گپ میزنن و هم فارسی و به خاطر که در همه جای دنیا هستین شما نام خدا ما کوشش میکنیم که یک ذره میکس کنیم فارسی و انگلیسی را مگر ما ناتورالی ما و مسکاجان ما گپ میزنیم که نصفش فارسی میباشه نصفش انگلیسی but we'll try to make it so that it's more understandable to you guys. Dostoi Aziz, I'm going to let Muskajan let you know what today's topic is, and this was a really hot topic when we shared it on social media.
Salam everyone, thank you Suri John for having me here today in Afghan Times. Today we're going to be talking about probably the most popular topic we've talked about recently, and that's marriage. So all the ins and outs, and share your views that you shared with us on social media.
Right, so Dostoi Aziz, don't forget, we do also do podcasts on these taboo situations, just like I host my TV show alone. And sometimes I'll have guests. Muskajan and I actually do podcasts where we just speak and you guys can actually listen if you're not into videos. Speaking of shows, Muskajan has some really good news to share with you guys.
Well, I'll start halfway with that. With the podcast, you can actually listen to it on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify. I know that's really big, or Amazon Music, or Apple Music. So it's all on all big platforms. Regarding the show, I will be joining Afghan Times Bahai, and the show is going to be targeting our new Afghans that are arriving from Afghanistan and aboard, kind of like a welcome show for them, but it'll be called No Balad. So I hope you guys join me and watch that show with me and help me make it the best as I can.
Of course, you guys can reach out to Muskajan at like on Instagram or even on Facebook. اگر میخواین یا کدام مشوره داشته باشین about where to go, where to shop for the newcomers, چی چیزا میتونن که بکنن to help themselves, to help settle in, and these are not just the newcomers from Afghanistan, but I know that we have a lot of newcomers from different cities and different provinces.
Yeah. اینه فکر کنم بهتره است که بداری کوشش کنیم بگویم چون دوستایی که اگه کمک کار داره شاید انگلیسی بلد زیاد نباشن. یک برنامه به نام نابلد بخیر شروع میکنیم در تلویزیون افغان تایمز و او برنامه برای دوستای ماست که در تورنتو یا در کانادا نه آمدن و اونجا ما لیمیتد سیریز است، چند قسط می باشه و در این مامرای شما شریک می سازیم جایایی که براتون میتونین برین برای دیدن، برای شاپینگ و چی کمک ها اویلیبل است برای شما یا چی شما ضرورت دارین اونمو رو ما به پرده براتون میاریم. بخیر، امید است که شما برنامه رو ببینین و نظرتان رو بتین که چه قسم برنامه است یا چه قسم بهتر شده میتونه.
Perfect. So Imroz, we're going to cover the topic of marriage. It's a hot topic. زیادتر جوانان که هستن میخواین که عروسی کنن مگم there's a lot of factors stopping them. A lot of جوانان عروسی کردن. Some of them didn't work out. Some of them worked out really well. So we're going to cover everything that has to do in terms of marriage. So مسکاجان و ما یک چند سوال در سوشال میدیا پرسان کردیم از دوستای خود. Let's start off with some of those. So one of the questions was, why are youth taking longer to get married, even though a lot of them want to be married? So Muskajan is going to share a little bit about what we learned from people's experiences.
Oh, I think like now based on the answers people are giving and based on like life experience, people want to invest in themselves before they invest into like a relationship with somebody. They want to establish themselves. They want to get to know the person. Before it was more like فلان نفر است که شورسی میکنی گپ خلاص است. You know, you didn't have much of a say. Now you get to go to school, you get to do whatever you want, establish whatever you want, and then step into the married life and take on those responsibilities.
Right. زیاد نفر میخواد که سر پای خود استاد شوه خدا با یک مقام برسانه پیش از که عروسی کنه, which I mean is fair enough.
Yeah. میفهمین در کانادا مشکل است که سر یک اینکم انسان پیش بره، مجبور است که اقلا دو نفر کار کنه که خاندان پیش بره، خرچیا بسیار است اینجا. از او خاطر زیادتر نفرها کوشش میکنن که اول یک جای برسن بعد از او عروسی کنن بعد از او اولاد بیارن.
Right, obviously موفق بودن بسیار یک کار کلان است و Dom, something that we wanted to share was what is the obsession with wanting to get married on time? You know, at the right age. What is the right age to you, Muskojan?
To me, that's a funny question because I would say like 30. But I know بسیاری افغانا شاید ام نظرم نباشه چون میگن سی یک ذره کلان است. I think by the time you're 30 میفهمی که چی قسم یک انسان هستی خودت، چی قسم یک انسان میخوایی، در زندگی چی میخوایی، چی نمیخوایی. like خودم میشناسی تا اون سن سال and تا اون وقت you're kind of established as well. But به فکر ما like افغانا بسیار فکر میکنن اگر like you have an expiry date اگر تا 25 عروسی و یک 20 اولاد نباشه it's like you got nothing going in life.
Yeah, another word that they use which I really hate is khonamanda.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it drives me crazy. And actually some of the answers that I got was, oh, I got married at the right age.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the right age is supposed to be because I always thought
that's
that's what it's going to be. People apparently think that that's there's a set age and if after that you're married, it's a problem. Before that you're married, it's also a problem. So why did we
the
set
thing
that
is,
age?
I feel like actually کنی غلط هستی so بهتر است کار دلت کنی. Like
I agree. I absolutely
do
agree
what
with that.
works best for you in your life, you know, in your situation. But یگان تو بهتر است که وقت عروسی کنن, you know, mentally they're prepared. A lot of people are not. I wasn't.
They're not mentally prepared. They're not financially prepared. And we're actually going to talk about some of the obstacles as well and some of the issues that people face. Khomuskajan, when we talked about expectations, وقتی که درباره expectations ما سوال کردیم, زیادتر دوستا گفتن که میخواین, you know, they wanted to have certain things like for example a rich husband or a girl from back home, یا چطور چیکار,
a cultured girl.
Right.
اصلا ما خراب کرد.
So why don't you tell us about what some of these expectations are and how realistic they could really be versus something that we think we have in our head, but really, I mean...
Honestly, I feel like some of these people that have these high expectations are like nobodies. Like, I feel like if you want someone as accomplished as you do, you should have something to offer yourself. Like,
100%.
Otherwise, like, you want a sugar mommy or sugar daddy.
Yeah, of course.
You don't want a marriage, you want a wedding, which is not something you should aim for. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I agree because زیاد نفرا you know فکر میکنن یا میخواین که یک دختر بگیرن از افغانستان یا از back home بیارن و او دختر basically like کل کار خونه یاره کنه and این بچه basically just does whatever he wants and
یا بچه کل کار در زندگی کل کار میکنه like you know
or
have all their fun and then was یک دختر میخواد که like oh she has to be a virgin the عمر روی یک مرد ندیده باشه which is unrealistic in this day and age. Like everyone, not everyone, that's not fair to say, but you know people have the right to speak to people to get to know them before they get married.
Of course,
you know,
بهتر
است که you get to know someone بشناسیش باز عروسی کو از که که عروسی کو باز ببین که جور نمیای باز جدا شو.
Exactly. Yeah, there are some girls who expect, you know, for the guy to be absolutely like just rich and basically just fall at their feet at like any given time, but at the same time, they've got nothing to offer for themselves, and you know they don't even respect his family. So there's a lot of that, or sometimes it's a matter of where the guy expects the girl to respect his family and treat his family like her own. But he wouldn't do the same for the girl.
No.
And we have come across a lot of double standards and a lot of unfair standards, which unfortunately is a really big reason as to why people are not getting married even though they want to. They're not being real with themselves and they're not being fair in terms of their expectations.
Like you said, like I feel like a lot of people are looking for a wedding.
Right.
It's like, you know, I feel like, you know, people like grow up and it's like, this is how I want my wedding to be. I want this dress, I want this car, I want this singer, I want this kind of hall, I want the diamond to be this big and all of that. But they don't think about the marriage, the wedding itself, the marriage itself.
Right, and
like,
that's the long term.
Exactly, like after that big day, all that money you wasted on one night party and people come and eat and go and like talk, you know, I know them.
Yeah, they talk badly about you regardless. گفتنی خدا خوبی از میگم.
Yeah, like
right?
Zamir and I had a small party and 60 people.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was like the best. I was on the dance floor the whole time. We had so much fun. Our guests had fun. Like, khurda kalan da maidan بود. We had so much fun. And, you know, and people were still talking. Not the people that were there, because we made sure we only invite people that are like there for us. But like, مردم gap میزنن. محفله که خورد گرفتیم, people were like, oh, you know what, she must be pregnant, that's why. It's like, no, it's just, you're not important to me. باید از اول, like, personally I believe که do what's right for you, like what you think. یعنی like چی فایده که 400-500 نفر میمان کنی که هیچ نمیشناسی, یک 5 سال پیش در یک جای دیده بودی. Yeah. So
this is true. This is very true. So some of the issues that people said that they had, believe it or not, were people having double standards, which we just covered. You know, like هر چیز که با خود میخوایی, you have to be able to offer yourself. نمیتونی که بگوی که این نفر پیسه‌دار باشه یا این نفر اتر باشه, این نفر این دختر کار نکنه یا از خانه نبره مگم خودت کار بکنی. That doesn't work that way. It's not realistic. Especially در جای کانادا واره یک جایی که یک دختر از خانه نبره, مکتب نخواند, you know, just 24 ساعت دمود کنج خانه بیشینه. It's not realistic.
Well,
it's not
the
possible.
thing is, like, I feel like یگان تو فکر میکنه که از افغانستان یک دختر بیاری و اما تو در قطی میتونی قید نگاه کنی. دخترایی که در کانادا است یا دخترای خراب است و مجبور هستی که بری افغانستان بری عروسی کنی. And honestly, I don't think that's the case, because I feel like us foreign girls have a really bad name, whereas honestly, like, I think personally, like, I feel like my in-laws like love me. You know, we have such a good relationship. You know, like, no issues at all. Gosh, shaitan kar. But like, you know, دخترای خوب و خراب در جای است. So it's not like تنها در کانادا یا در کدام مملکت دیگر دخترای خوب پیدا میشه یا تنها خراب پیدا میشه.
یا کلتور فرهنگ بفهمن. اینجا هم که کلان میشه کلتور فرهنگ میفهمن. It's just people think that girls over here خراب هستن یا
because I think it's because like we don't understand the language. Not understand. We can't speak the language as fluently. So technically that makes us khariji.
But also I think it's the fact that we don't accept all the, you know, like all the problems with our culture and our traditions. We don't just accept it blindly. We question, we understand. We don't just say, okay, this is what it is. یا خو انا میگه پس سایسته ما قبول دارم. ما پرسان میکنیم که چرا علت از این چرا در فرهنگ ماسته, این چرا در کلتور ماسته. ما میخوایم بفهمیم وقتی که اینجا کلان میشیم. A lot of times they ask us to ask, why do you believe what you believe? Even with religion, you want to know why you believe what you believe, right?
Yeah.
And so when we ask about our culture, that makes us blasphemous, that makes us betarbiya basically, but that's not really what we are. We're just trying to understand
مملکتی که کلان نشدیم با ما مشکل است که بفهمیم. Like you said, مجبور هستیم سوال کنیم, بر خود معلومات جمع کنیم و it's a generation of information. Like it's at our fingertips literally. Like تلفن بالا کو هر information که کار دریافت میشه minus our culture, because it didn't get to the point where مثلا فیلمای این دیره میبینی میفهمی culture این چی است. ما شما دو سویه هنوز نرسیدیم که culture خود از تلویزیون like از فیلم‌ها یا ما چون we don't have that at this time.
As a matter of fact, خود کلتور تبدیل میشه every few years. چیزی که مادر پدر ما در افغانستان داشتن یا پدر کلان ما در افغانستان میدید اون رقم کلتور فرهنگ اصلا نیست.
So and that's not fair
changing,
right? To expect that from your child or your عروس یا داماد که ولد وقت ما اینطور بود and I expect you to do the same because وقت شما نمانده, you know, and وقتی که خانه ما اولاد شد بخیر یا صاحب عروس داماد شده ما expect کردن نمیتونیم که کارهایی که ما آله میکنیم اونا کنن چون generation تا generation کلش فرق میکنه.
As a matter of fact, even حضرت علی رضی الله عنه گفت که do not raise your children the way that you were raised, for, you know, times were different then and times are different now. So هر چیز که زندگی پیش میره کلتور فرهنگ هر جایی که باشی تبدیل میشه و پیش میره and you have to accept that. باید از سمو change accept کنین. You guys have to learn to live with it and learn to adapt to it because that's the only way. اگر پس رفته میمانیم.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Another issue that we covered was not respecting each other's families.
Yeah, I think that's so huge. I think in life in general, treat people the way you want to be treated. And it's really big because that really makes a big difference on your relationship. Like اگه respect نکنی یک مادر ازوره یا پدر ازوره, this goes for the husband or the wife. How could you expect them to do the same to you and your parents and اولادای تو از تو چی یاد میگیره? You know, at the end of the day, you can't tell your kids what to do if you're not doing it yourself. You have to like show them how to be respectful and loving and whatnot.
Right.
You can't just be like, you know, oh, respect your elders, but then you're gonna go like cuss out the grandma or grandpa.
Of course.
You know.
هر چیز که کسی میبینه مامو رقم یاد میگیره، especially وقتی که اولاد آدمی باشه. تربیت تنها از گفتن نمیشه که یک چیز بگویشان و خودتان یک کار دیگه بکنین and then you expect them to learn what you said. It's not, you know, do as I say, not as I do. That's not how it works, right? And that's just how a lot of us grow up. We need to see, you need to set an example, and that's how we go, right?
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's the matter of living accommodation and chores. This is a big one, بخاطر living with in-laws.
Yeah. I think that living with anybody is hard to begin with. So like I feel like there has to be some boundaries set. And honestly, I have lived with my mother-in-law and father-in-law. I was in Sweden for 8-9 months, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law were here for about 6 months. So gosh shaitan kar, like we've never had a clash, but I think it's because we were respecting each other and respecting each other's space. Like I would do for them what I would expect Zamir to do for my parents, you know, and they were treating me as a daughter as opposed to like their daughter-in-law. Like they always say khani dokhtaram omadem and joke around ke Zamir damatshon ast, you know. So like I feel like if you give that respect, you'll get that back, and if you don't, and I understand like not all mother-in-law and father-in-laws are like mine. I have been blessed, or like Zamir's, because he's truly been blessed as well. I think that's the time where you have to sit them down, and at first it may come as like but no, I feel like if you sit down and tell them like what bothers you and then they'll share what bothers them, at the end of the day you can solve it.
Yeah, I mean باید سمرشان صحبت کنین بگویشان که you know عادتهای ما این رقم است and you know these were my expectations and دایی رقم کارم راحت است دایی نیستم. You know, sit down and really get to know them, what their expectations are, and then have a listening or have them have a listening ear and actually communicate with them in the way that they feel comfortable. کامرای از او صحبت کنین و پرسان کنین که علت از این پرابلم چی است و چرا نمیتونین you know در یک خانه زندگی کنین چی مشکلات ها پیش میآید و at the same time if you are living with your spouse you have to kind of protect them against your family as well in the sense that you do have to stand up for them sometimes. You can't just always be like, you know, be the mature one, whatever, they're old, they're our parents, whatever. I understand, but you still have to stand up for them. You have to remember they left their entire family for you, so you can't expect them to just adapt and take over the culture of your household and family while you do nothing for them. Right?
It's
so
a
there
50-50 relationship.
100%.
Like, it's give and take. It's not just like, you know, take. Because that's not going to work out and you're going to be left confused. Like, what went wrong? It's literally maybe because you were the one that were just, you know, taking everything instead of like, you know, giving some respect or love or whatever it was that was missing, you know?
Right.
Like I said earlier, like, really whatever you expect for it.
Yeah. Always. Yeah.
Yeah. And like whatever you want for yourself, want that for someone else as well. Like چیزی که به خود میخوای به دیگران بخوای.
100%. Another thing is کار خانه.
Yeah, کار خانه. I feel دی وقتا ما و شما بسیار مصروف هستیم چون در افغانستان بود کل زنها کار نمیکردن، خانم‌ها کار نمیکردن. So not mostly, like my whole family خانم‌ها کار میکرد, but like the ones that were at home were running the house, right? Now, like for example, like I work, Zamir work, we're always out. So the khanam, like if you're bringing in like 50% of the income you're working, like your husband should give you 50% of the housework as well. Like there should be, for example, like split the work so there's no confusion and then there's no fights. And I'm telling you this from experience because Goshat Ankar, it's working for me. For like if I'm doing the cooking, Zamir will do the dishes.
Right.
You know what
so
I mean?
You can't expect که کل کار خانه یک نفر کنه و نفر دوم نکنه.
Yeah. Yeah. So so you can't expect just one person to do all the work, and it's usually like the wife or the woman that's doing all the work. Yeah. And sometimes, like, as a woman, I feel like we're so conditioned to do the work. Like, I feel guilty when Zamira is doing something.
Yeah, بخاطر که میگن او مرد است چرا کارخانه رو میکنه چرا زرکار میشه
like and then I have to remind myself like it's okay bro, like tom kar mikani, you know.
Even
like
our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did his house chores and helped out with the house. So I mean, who are we to put men on such a high pedestal and be like, no, it's a man, so he should do nothing. And it's not like, you know, he works outside the house and we don't kind of thing. You know what I mean?
What that means که خانه like you can't expect your wife to بره full time بیرون کار کنه باز بیا like full time در خانه کار کنه and take care of the kids. You know, like I've seen couples where like the wife works outside and then comes home and does everything from like taking care of the kids to cooking and cleaning and ميمون نوازی on top of that.
Of course.
And the husband is just like, you know, گل میدان, and it upsets me because it's not fair. Like او بیچاره like کدام اول بگیره, like if you are that like manly as you claim to be, then work enough so your wife doesn't have to work outside.
Exactly. And I mean, a lot of times the guys do want to help out at home. The guy, like family members won't let him go. Oh my god, it's a boy. He's what's the word, zancho, he's this, he's that, he's, you know, he's become like a slave to his wife and whatever.
یا در خانه که بود هیچ کار نمیکرد. It's like it's not my fault که در او وقت کار نمیکرد, you know. آله میکنه چون من میگمش که باید از بکنه اگه در خانه میخواه باشه. So اگه خودت ما میگفتی از خاطر کی هیچ حاجتش شاله نبود که با ما بگویی که در خانه کار نمیکرد.
Exactly.
I think it's such a big deal. Like growing up, and again, I feel like I'm bringing my personal life into this. I have three brothers, and growing up, I would always tell them like it's not fair for me to do all the housework. You guys have to come in too. So like since we were young, we all exactly like we were splitting up the work. Like assigned شده بودیم امورا میکردیم. So I feel like as parents you should be teaching your kids how to help out in their house, because they're not shocked once they're married where their wife is like, okay bro, like you're gonna have to help me, and they're like, I've never done this before. Like okay, یاد میگیری, بیا من یادت میدم.
خب دوستای عزیز, دیگه پام یک وقت کوتاه and we'll be right back.